In this video, I'm going to be restoring a Kikai Shakuri Kanna, otherwise known as a Japanese plough plane. Well, it's a bit wet. Too wet to keep working on the screens. And while the thatch is working really well, I don't have enough of it done to work in here. Look at it just flowing off there. It's in pretty good nick, but first thing I want to do is get the rust off, so I've got to take it apart. Okay, so I'm going to need a screwdriver and possibly a spanner by the look of it. Okay, so I have my Japanese screwdriver. I don't know that there's anything special about it in terms of Japanese, but it came from Japan in a box of other tools. Turning quite easily. I reckon if I just give that a tap, there we go, the one nut there. Alright, well let's put those back together. Now the cool thing with electrolysis is as long as you got metal contact with metal contact, the electrolysis will work. So I can now reassemble that, which means that the pieces don't get lost, and then just stick that in the electrolysis bath right now. Now I've got this one set up at the moment for doing long things, but you can do small things as well. Is it buzzing yet? Right, be careful not to drop the phone here, that would be bad. But you can see those bubbles all coming off there. It's not very focused. So while that's working away, we can undo the other. Got this center one to undo. Yep, okay, so as I'm turning that, the nut's turning. So I'm gonna need to hold that on one side and undo it on the other. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna try a different screwdriver because I'm just burring that. I think I need something that's sharper and broader. I can't get it to move. Well, plan B. So that'll hopefully provide enough contact. And getting the wood wet is not ideal, but this is a much higher powered electrolysis unit than I would normally use. Normally I use just a little wall wart, whereas this time I'm using a laptop power supply. So it'll do the job a lot faster. So I'm going to leave that there for half an hour or so, and then come back and see how we go. Oh no. Alright, well that's not working. Let's now try another tack. Well, that's a bugger. But since I can't get that undone. Yeah, so I don't know what to do about that. Getting the blade out was easy. Now just got to put everything through the electrolysis and go from there. That needs to go in for a bit longer. It's got still got flakes of rust here that aren't moving. Well, the rain's eased off and I've got these pieces clean, so let's have a look at how bad the damage is. Whenever you're restoring a blade, it's not the bevel that matters. What it is the back. In fact, I would say there's only micro pits there. It's really more just discoloration than actually any pittings. And the other one is much the same. You can see there that there's some pretty significant pits further up the main cutting blade, but fortunately they're nowhere near the edge. And the pits that I can see there that are anywhere near, well, there's a couple that could cause us some issues. But interestingly, that edge looks slightly convex, and I wonder if that's intentional. Now this is one of my natural stones. It's actually my coarsest stone, and it's an incredibly fast, coarse cutter, which I really need to make a base for, so I don't have this wobble problem. But and normally I would do the first roughing in of a blade that I'm restoring on a linisher. Okay, well, that can really reveals the pits quite clearly, but I think that's enough because near the edge there's just micro pits. Now for a Kanna, for a smoothing Kanna, not good enough, but for this I reckon that's fine. And these nicker blades are being more than a little stubborn. This one's fared a bit better, but it's still, you see that sort of scroll work from the corrosion near the edge. One of the considerations I've got when doing this is, okay, how far do I go? And I reckon to do the job, I reckon I've gone far enough. But it seems that YouTube rewards people for getting things absolutely mirror finished. So maybe I should keep going until I've got that mirror finish. But yeah, well, quite frankly, I'm more interested in getting things done. So let's move on to the next stone. Now this is my 800 King. You can see it's quite thin. That's because it's one of the stones I use the most. And again, I really need to make a base for it, a support. And the thinner it gets, the more crucial that base is. And this is why I love the Kings, because just a few strokes, and look at that. It's already brought up a beautiful polish. Now you can see how well the King has cleaned that up, removed the scratches, but you can also see how deep some of those pits are. That's not good. See all those pits at the edge there. That needs more attention. It's one of those considerations that you've got when you're restoring a tool, is like, how perfect do you get it? Now, if I was planning to do sliding dovetails cross grain, okay, that's not good enough. It's just not. The pits in those knickers are going to stop a decent edge from forming. But because with this project I'm just looking to plough a trench with the grain, I can probably get away with not going any further. But anyway, right now I'm going to take these through the 1000 grit, the 1200 grit, and then polish them up on the, I think I've got I think these, it's my two finishing stones. I've got them secondhand, so I don't know exactly what they are, but I think they're around 2,000 and 6,000. While I don't need to go that far, because I'm just going with the grain and it's just a plough, it'll make it easier to use. So it doesn't come up too badly. Haven't got a straight flat bevel there. My hands, it's very hard to hold these things consistent to get a perfectly flat bevel. That doesn't look too bad. Looks like I should have spent some more time between stones. I haven't got a very good mirror finish there. To be fair to myself, there's a lot of mistakes revealed by a lens like this that you normally don't see when you're looking at it. So not too bad. Certainly good enough for the ripping trenches that we're going to do with it once we get it reassembled. Now before we put this back together, I'm going to be doing two things. First is I'm going to be wiping down all the wood with this linseed and beeswax mixture. Now, I made this, oh crikey, it must be coming up to 14 years ago now, to do a floor. That's way too much. And yeah, I've still got the same pot. Floor wasn't huge. Probably 30 square meters, but yeah. You can see that I haven't used much. Now this was in water, but it won't have had time to absorb much water because I didn't have it in there for very long. And it's one of the reasons I've started using electrolysis bath that's got a higher amperage, so that I can put wooden items in there and not having them soak overnight. So just half an hour or so to give them a treatment means that the you know, wooden parts like for handles or whatever, they don't get a chance to soak too much water up and swell. Now I'd love, if anyone's got an idea of how to get that apart, please make your suggestions in the comments, because I can't think of a way to do it that's not destructive in some way. So if you've got a suggestion, please let us know, because I'd love to wax in between these parts and de-rust this metal plate that holds the knives. But anyway, that is waxed up. I'm now going to put a bit of camellia oil on all the metal bits. Probably overkill for the washers, but yeah, might as well. I've actually thought about making up another mixture of this with camellia oil and beeswax, and try a number of different cuts. I've got no idea what this one was, whether it was 1-to-1 or what. I've no, like I said, it was what, close to 15 years ago, so I really don't remember. But anyway, now let's put this baby back together. So, square nuts were in place and there was a washer. There you go. Now I just need a screwdriver. There we go. Now these babies come on. Geez, they're flowing really nicely now. A little bit of oil, getting the rust off them and getting the oil on them makes a huge difference. Well, that's going to need a bit of a tap. Right, well, I think we are done. Well, there she is, all restored. And I must say that looks a huge improvement, even if I've only done a good enough job and not a thorough job. But yeah, I'm still pretty pleased with how that's come up. I'm not actually ready to use this yet because, well, I haven't got the frame to the point where I want to route the trenches for the woven lattice work that's going in the frame for the screens that I'm working on at the moment. I just thought I'd get it done now while the rain was, because I couldn't work outside of my bench for most of it. So let's just rush forward in time and I'll show you this beauty in action. I'm gonna have to go the long way because my hands are all greasy. I can't snap them. Well, time has passed and I've got the joinery done for all 3 frames. Now I need to route the grooves on all the pieces before I put them together and then start the weaving. So we're gonna give this plough plane a run for its money. See how good a job of restoration I've done. As you can see, I've already given it a bit of a go, and what I'm finding is that the iron's a bit loose. It's not, it keeps on moving. So what I'm going to do is cut a sliver of paper to put in there to just pack it up a bit as a shim. Now with a hiragana, you know, your regular planing kana, this is pretty easy to do. But for this, it's a bit tricky because it's so thin. So what I'm going to try and do is see if one piece of paper will do us. I'm going to put that, yeah, I think we want it there. I think I might need to do 2 layers, it's still a bit loose. That's much firmer. Beautiful. It's not flowing freely, which is annoying. The chips are kind of folding up instead of curling out. Oh, that's working better. Well, I just came out to get a still of it logging up because it wasn't very clear, and now it's just flowing beautifully. And I think the reason it was clogging is because of the grain of the wood. This grain's really nice and clean, and it's all going that way, and it's just going up into the plough and coming out the top in these beautiful shavings. And look at how crisp that is. That is gorgeous. The wood itself's a bit manky, but well, it's an outdoor piece, so I don't really care. I'm not saying I couldn't do better, but that is just fabulous. So I've just got to do all of these pieces and the middle rail. Then I've got to put it all together and do the weaving. So stay tuned for that episode coming up very soon, because I need to get these screens done and move on to some more projects. Plus I need to get that whole mess done, screened up. So yeah, stay tuned. Catch you guys soon. Bye-bye.